for this computer. Right. Hello.
Hi, back for another meeting. Um, so we're here to talk about the IEP scavenger hunt. A lot of fun. So what I had to do was I was given a sample IEP, and I had to go through there and fill out the information that
Love it.
evaluate the sections and everything.
Love it. This
So,
is my strong suit, so to
oh
say.
yeah,
Bread and butter here.
yeah, I'm glad it is because I was like,
It's
yeah.
it's trial and error, you know?
So we've got Sharon. Her primary exceptionality is she's epileptic. She
Okay.
has, I think it was apraxia because of her
Sure,
epilepsy.
sure, sure. So,
So
so
she's got speech impairments. She's got some cognitive issues.
you mean like seizure prone?
hmm
Okay.
So it impacts her ability to meet grade level standards. Apraxia affects her ability to communicate with peers, and she's not really able to communicate what she's learned because of her inability to, um, communicate properly.
Okay.
So we go to the present level performance section. One of her strengths is that she's learning some coping strategies. Um, One of the concerns they had for her was her inability to effectively communicate. The way they demonstrated that was like they said that she struggles to identify numbers larger than 20. So, obviously that's going to lead to some issues
Of course.
in math.
Yeah.
She's got 14 annual goals. A lot of them were geared towards like this one. Like when in need of adult assistance, she's going to raise her hand in 4 out of the 5 opportunities and ask for help
Love it.
rather than eloping or shutting down or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Adult assistance. Let me see. 4 to 5 data opportunities as measured by weekly teacher observation and data collection.
yeah, I think that's a pretty
Yes.
good goal, smart goal.
Yes, the only some this is district to district. This district would say the only thing you're missing there is like the accuracy,
Okay, so you want
right?
like a
So
percentage?
so this one's easy because it's either she raises her hand and asks for help or she doesn't.
Mhm.
They would say you would just use 100% accuracy. It's either she did raise her hand or she didn't raise her hand,
Okay.
right? So that one's easy. When it comes to like goals related towards academics, then it would be, well, like, does she still pass the goal if she missed a couple?
Yeah,
Right. So then you would go like 4 to 5 times with 80% accuracy.
right.
So I'm sure you have that on the later ones, but perfect. That looks good.
Um, they wanted me to make sure that like these goals tie back to her PLOP section, which I thought they did, because her goal was to communicate. Her struggles that they talked about was communication.
Yeah.
Um, the accommodations she has are things like transcription,
Love that.
time limits, obviously, flexible time limits, preferential seating.
Uh-huh.
I don't think she required any modifications. Um, the accommodations were mainly like communicative, like we said.
Did it say like what grade level she was like working at, like for math?
It might have said it on the IEP, but I feel like I should have pulled that up somewhere.
Well, let me tell you, um, modifications typically, at least in this district, right? Just so you know, it's like if their IQ,
Mhm.
like their school psych report comes out, and this is like not all the time, but this is like I think how this district does this. If their IQ is below like a 70, right,
Mhm.
then they would run the modifications, so to say,
Okay.
right? And that modifications, when you're talking about modifications, it is you were literally changing the standards for that person, right? So you're kind of taking away some things that maybe necessarily their grade level peers would be
Yeah.
working on. So it's kind of cutting that stuff. So typically, I know a lot of principals and districts don't want to do that, but based on their actual psych report in their IQ levels and things like that, you might run the risk of modifications. So I don't think in this instance, yeah, if you keep going down,
Don't
letter
think she
sound,
does.
keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, go to that math calculation. Let's see. Sharon, my numbers 1 through 12 on occasion. How old is Sharon?
She is. I think she's pretty young. No, it might not say anything about her age.
Go back to the
It didn't
IEP
ask me.
and go all the way up to the top. This will say birthday
Oh, 2016. So
2016.
she is
So she's
9?
she's 9.
9.
So yeah, a little younger. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Like at 9, the not counting the numbers. That's okay here. Let's go back to the math calculation. A lot of present levels here. So like she'll say 3 1 or 1 3 for 13. She struggles identifying numbers larger. So at 9 years old, like yeah, that could be tough, but I do not think that deems for modification.
Could that be some kind of dyslexic type of thing?
Yeah, and there's a lot of people like if she's still able to learn, right, like new skills or be able to like the next day, like whatever she learned the day before, she's able to like do that problem again, maybe a model, and then she's able to, then I don't think there's any room for like modifications. Modifications tend to happen if like she learned something and then the very next day she literally like doesn't really remember it again, like memory things gets into play.
Mm,
I know you said on her IEP that she wasn't able to recall or communicate the information,
yeah.
but that doesn't necessarily mean that she doesn't remember, like
Yeah.
know
I
how
think
to
she
do
just
it.
can't communicate that she's learned it. I think she
Correct.
probably remembers
If
it.
she remembers and is able to do it, I don't know. I'm not a school psychologist, but I would err on the side of she wouldn't need modifications, just a lot of accommodations.
Mhm. So this next section talks about the least restrictive environment and the services they provide for. She's still going to be in a gen ed classroom with her non-disabled peers.
Okay.
She's going to have a regular social and cognitive intervention sessions. There's actually a section about that on here where something they wanted to, when we were evaluating the IEP, talk about was if they're giving her enough time, like of the proper amount of time, it's not all overlapping,
Uh-huh.
because this is the goal section. Where's this?
Yeah, this isn't yeah, go ahead. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
There it is.
Oh,
So
the
5 times per week,
services.
30 minutes, but they don't specifically say this time, which I think should probably be a thing, because are they doing all of that, taking her out of core classes for that?
Well, if you see, okay, so there's two things going on here. There's social behavior in the special ed setting.
Mhm.
So maybe for 30 minutes, I think this is good that she's learning how to handle her emotions and how to talk to people and all that. I think that's great if they offer a class like that, but that would not be that would not be with her peers, right?
Okay.
But then you're looking at core math calculation. So her math class, it looks like she could be in a co-taught class,
Okay.
right? Now, the one that's different is based on probably her progress, based on her present levels and based on her goals, right? They did put her in a sped setting for pull out reading. So she is in a reading class with peers, maybe co-taught, right? And maybe with other students that struggle. But she now gets pulled out to build on her reading skills that keep her below her instructional level. So based on that service, I could probably say that she might be a little better at math than she is with reading,
Hmm.
based on what they gave her for as far as services go. Does
That
that make,
tracks,
does
yeah.
that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they also, and correct me, I'm not like an elementary teacher, they do have a math pullout
Mhm.
as well for intervention skills, and so, but it doesn't look like they gave her that.
Yeah. They
So,
they have some related things
so
they
all
do
that
too.
therapy
Yeah,
stuff is
speech therapy,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
occupational therapy.
And typically all those therapy sessions are kind of like what like Miss Allison like it would
Mhm.
be. It's always pull out.
It's great resource.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Sure.
Awesome.
Okay. And I rated the different sections. The narrative, I thought it was good. I gave it a 4, gave it a full score. I felt like, the person who wrote it, they know a lot about her. They really do a good job of describing how the disability is affecting her, and not really, I like to talk about asset-based approach. I feel like that's important. You build on what's good and not talk about really where we're struggling so much. Build on
Mhm.
what we have.
And you're really focusing right there. Go back to the IEP real quick.
Yeah.
let's go all the way to the top.
Probably the top.
That narrative is really that the strengths. What happened? Oh, there it is.
Good.
Keep going, keep going. Okay, go down a little. That narrative section really has to do with this page 2,
Mhm.
right? As it's describing the student's strengths, right? And then the concerns with the parent, concerns with how it's impacting their ability. Like, so that looks like a lot of information, which is good.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Perfect.
They really like go in depth about what she's about. So
Triggers and things like
yeah,
that.
it's not
Love-
just like she has this, she does this poorly. You know,
right.
like
You're really trying to find like, because of this, this impacts her ability to learn
Mhm.
this. It's perfect.
I think some of this I was just hesitant to give everything 4, so I was finding, justification to lower their score a little bit. But the PLEP section, I gave it a 2, uh, because it effectively communicates where Sharon is progress wise. There was something there where I feel like the data they used wasn't like they wanted formal data and informal data, and I
Okay.
felt like it was lacking some informal like input on her. Like we just looked at the section about the math, right? But I didn't feel like they had everything they needed to get a 4 there.
Yeah. And typically, like, you're trying to pull up the most information from like the most recent data that you get.
Mhm.
Right. So if they're doing the benchmarks every semester, if they are progress monitoring the right way, then that data should be there. I also noticed just by skimming through, I know that she has a lot going on for her, but it seemed like there was a lot of present levels. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You never go wrong with doing all that, but is that realistic?
Yeah,
Like having 20 present levels?
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
You like sometimes, especially at the high school level, right? You want to do the things that are they're like really behind in,
Mhm.
right? Or the things that maybe
Prioritize.
prioritize a little better.
Yeah.
At the elementary level, I'm not really familiar with it, so I can understand that they have a lot.
The annual goals, I give it a 2, and my justification was that the standard they set was that they include clearly defined behavior and performance criteria, how consistently, how well, how often, how measured. The goal I used was in a small group setting, Sharon will participate in associative play in a controlled environment with a teacher facilitating appropriate peer interactions as measured by teacher observation. What I thought, the reason I gave it a 2 is I didn't feel like you said with the percentages,
Yeah,
they didn't measure really. They just said it's going to happen
that's it.
in
You
the
have
numbers.
right. You had to have kind of a um like quantitative data piece there,
Yeah.
right? You got to have like how is this what number is for mastery?
Mhm.
That's it.
Felt like the classroom accommodations, they definitely reflected her disabilities.
Okay.
State district, same. The communicative assistance is definitely what she needs.
Yeah. And we looked at the services. The services look good.
Services were good, yeah. The overall IEP, I gave it a 2, and I could have earned higher, but they did like 4-2-0, so they didn't really give you a lot of
Oh, okay.
wiggle room there.
Gotcha.
They also, I don't know if this was just a clerical error, but the first qualification of a 4-point score for an IP is that it's all been signed, and none of that had been signed. So I was like, maybe I'm being ticky-tack, but
Yeah, you got to have,
I haven't signed.
and there's a couple mains that have to sign,
Mhm.
right? There could be people
Got a whole
outside
section.
the main team members that can sign, but as far as you got to have the LEA, which would be like a principal,
Yeah.
right? Parent. At that age, I don't think a student has to qualify.
Mhm. They got
Uh,
everybody on here, no signatures.
right.
So it's like, yeah,
Right. And so those top five right there, big time have to sign.
yeah.
Mandatory.
Like I said, could be ticky-tack, but
But no, they should sign and date.
Yeah.
They have to. Cool.
All right, well, I think we're good.
All right.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you. Bye bye.